Hey, Venuelanders, this is your audio editor, Camille. A couple quick notes for you up top. First, I wanted to let you know that at the end of this episode, we've included some bonus content for you. This episode was recorded in person at the Fox Theater in Atlanta with Rachel Bomeli. Rachel took Paul and Dave on a private tour of the theater, and we've included some of that audio after the main interview, so be sure to stick around for that. Next, we unfortunately lost the first few minutes of Dave's audio from Rachel's interview. So I'm going to jump in just one more time and catch you up on what you missed. All right, enjoy the episode.
Live from backstage at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, the site for EVMC 2025. Hello and welcome to Adventures in Venueland, an EVMC podcast. This is your all-access pass to go backstage and behind the scenes with some of the brightest minds that cross the scope of the live entertainment industry. I'm Dave Rettelberger.
And I'm Paul Hooper.
We'll introduce you to some of our favorite people as we dive deep into the world of live touring shows and the venues that host them. Today's guest has literally done a little bit of everything from marketing to box office to public safety, running a nearly 15-year run here at the Fox Theater. Please welcome Vice President, Facility Operations, Rachel Bomeli.
Thanks so much for being here today.
Okay, at this point, Dave and Paul just start gushing about how gorgeous the Fox Theater is, which opened on Christmas Day in 1929. We'll jump right back into the interview right after Dave asks Rachel what they're going to do for their 100-year anniversary in 2029.
Man, what's crazy is that, like, you know, that feeling where, like, yeah, right, all at once. It feels like it's yesterday and it's 9 million years away, all at the same time. So we're out of time, but yet we can't even reach it. I think what is most special about what we're referring to as the road to 100 is that the road to 100, which again feels like we've been on for a really long time, but what's most special about it probably is not just, you know, we're thinking, of course, about how we celebrate that milestone because how special and so we should do that as loud and proud as we possibly can. But we're also talking about what does that mean for us for the next 100 years? We take our job as stewards of this historic landmark really seriously. And so what are we leaving to the people that do this for the next 100? Who do we want to be to Atlanta and to live entertainment and to preservationists? And so all of that is swirling around as we chart what that road looks like.
Yeah, and I think we just recently have talked to someone who works at a theater, and it's an interesting perspective that often theaters have that arenas or stadiums don't, and that, you know, you might have people that work at an arena the entire life of the building. Mm-hmm. You know, they typically aren't going to last, you know, more than maybe 40, 50 years at a maximum. You have some, you know, rare scenarios that might be more than that. But for theaters, I mean, we've got historic theaters that are 100 years, 150 years old. So really, it's like you are, you know, and not to belittle it, but you're a blip in the history of this historic venue. Like you have to kind of be like humbled by that, right? Like you have to like understand that it's really important to be a steward and obviously make a huge mark on it. But also it's like, it existed long before you started and hopefully will exist long after you're here. And so it is about, you know, not only celebrating the history, but really like showing like this is how we are setting up this venue to hopefully be here for another 100 and maybe 200 or whatever it is.
Exactly. We talk and we have those conversations weekly. Like this isn't this far reaching idea that just as we're approaching 100, we're like, oh man, wait a minute. No, they're like weekly, especially on the ops and preservation side of the building. All the time we're discussing this idea of passing the baton, and whether it's through project management or standard repairs and maintenance or preservation projects, we're thinking about the people that are going to have to do this after us and how to set them up for success and be the best stewards of her that we possibly can.
Yeah.
Of course, now when you're looking at 100, you also can't take your eye off 99, 98, 97. These are still special years. And you were here till 1:30 in the morning last night, just working on an event.
Yeah. You know, what's cool about this language Road to 100 that we're talking about is it's also, like you said, it's all about the lead up. And, I think much of what we'll do, especially this public facing, you'll see on that road as well. But we're also talking about things like, what is our responsibility to oral histories look like, and people's Fox story. Everybody has a Fox story, like whether it's your aunt and uncle in Alpharetta or the little girl down the street, like everybody has a story.
Yeah.
And artists alike too. So that's a fun thing that I think shows up in year 96 and 97 and 98 as we just do a better job to capture all that and retell it. And then again, in that same idea of stewardship or passing that on and creating a space where there's an expectation that that's always a thing that we're doing.
People who listen to the podcast, the hardcore listeners will know that I will not pass up an excuse to mention Prince.
Yeah.
And he's my favorite. He's my favorite.
One of mine
and,
too.
And you guys, you hosted the last Prince concert here.
We did. Yeah. It's a time that I'll never forget. I mean, we all have shows like that just like stay right here in your heart forever.
Yeah.
That's certainly one of them. I mean, I, at the time, was managing the box office. And so I was knee deep in the, 2 shows.
Yeah. 2 shows in the same night. It was just Prince and a piano, right? It was his.
And it was, he fell ill. So it was supposed to be one day. It was probably noon the day of the show before we knew it wasn't happening. And then had already started Will Call distribution, the whole thing. And so then turned on a dime to do it the following week. And I'll like I said, it was 9,000 tickets in Will Call distribution. Jeez. And I made it inside just in time to hold hands with Allie Grubb, our director of sales and marketing, in the back of the auditorium and listen to the last song. And exactly. Listen to the last song, which turned out to be, the last time ever. So, so special. So grateful we got to be a part of that.
Oh, that hit me in the feels.
And for people, we kind of hit on this a little bit, but for people that maybe don't know about the Fox and its design and its, it's very unique architecture. We were kind of looking at it as we were walking through and, talking about some of these historic venues. But I think really the Fox is extremely unique because a lot of these older theaters, they kind of borrow from one era almost, it seems. And I feel like the Fox is this interesting melting pot of some what like Egyptian and maybe some
Moorish.
Moorish, yes. Yeah. And so like kind of lay the nothing like seeing it in person, but lay the scene for anyone listening. What kind of theater are they expecting to see?
Well, I think one of the things that's most special is, we talked about we opened Christmas Day, 1929. And so to walk into this atmospheric, grandiose space and imagine that it is the way that it looked in 1929 is almost inconceivable. I mean, it's breathtaking. The attention to detail and the grandiose nature of the architecture, it's irreplaceable. It's just remarkable to imagine that anybody could have dreamed a design that fantastical at that time
and pulled it off. I mean,
pulled it off. And the intention at the time was, it was Shriner's meeting space.
Yeah.
And then
it
was going to be a Shriner building, right?
It was, yeah.
But the scope almost got too big for them.
Yeah. And so William Fox of Fox Films and eventually 20th Century Fox kind of swooped in and said, I'll help you finish construction if this can also be where I show my movies. And so to imagine that is its use is just incredible.
It's truly unique. And I love in particular, which I think is maybe some of the harder things to maintain in these historic theaters, but some of that draping sort of cloth, which is always so easy to you have to either replace it or you have to keep it restored. And it's really gorgeous when you sort of look up and you see almost this like tent-like structure of these beautifully billowing, designs. And it's very cool. And as we were walking past, your favorite spot, we've got this like old historic organ, which you were telling us, they're playing as people are walking in, that's kind of like your music as doors are opening and people are finding their seats. It's not, some sort of thing that, a Spotify playlist that the guy at the mix, plugged in. It's like, you've got an organist here who's playing this organ that's as old as the theater. Which is gorgeous. I mean, it's just, I'm sure just makes that experience, all the more, authentically Fox,
Yeah, we talk a lot about the transformative nature of the space. So instantly when everybody dreams about the guest experience and an impactful arrival, but we talk about it in this scope of a grand sense of occasion. And those were actually William Fox's words back in 29 when he talked about what he wanted this to feel like.
Yeah.
And so we lean into that a lot and do our best to transform you into this space. Like whatever worried you before you here, or whatever parking you fought at, or attendant you cussed out, or whatever, like none of that matters when you get in here. We'll take you somewhere else, even if just for a little bit.
What is your favorite space here? So I was fortunate to go on a bit of a tour like a month ago when I was in town for another conference.
Humble brag.
And there, no, I mean, but there's like, it sounds weird, but like the bathrooms are ornate, it's like, and there's like a little balcony, and there's all these like hidden little nooks and crannies like you often find in these theaters. Like, do you have kind of, other than obviously your space where you watch the show, is there like a favorite room or some cool feature that you just, always love?
Yeah, I have a few. Like I said, it never gets old. So that House Left Vom is number one. That's definitely at the top of the list. I often will find myself just going to sit in the back of the auditorium. Like if I need a minute or a reprieve or whatever, I'll just go find a seat and sit for a second. There's nothing like that. But also, honestly, I love the top level of the balcony is the crossover. That's the third balcony, and we should go check out before you leave.
Yeah.
And it's just stunning architecture, and it's quiet and dark, and it's really special.
Yeah, I love that.
So what it's also interesting is it's a lot more than just a theater, which is it's a real blessing, because so many of these old theaters around the country, they don't have much of a lobby. They don't have any extra space on the sides of them.
Right. They're butted up against other buildings on the sides.
Yeah, right. That's exactly
that they don't own,
Right. So talk to us about the property, because it's more than just that one room.
Yeah. So the theater is 4,665 seats, and we do 200 plus shows a year on average. But we also have two ballrooms, the Egyptian Ballroom and the Grand Salon, where we do upwards of 150 private events a year, weddings, corporate parties, proms. And then our Marquee Club is kind of the newest crown jewel.
It's gorgeous.
Our premium space.
So jealous.
And so like tonight, for example, we're hosting a Friendsgiving of sorts, and just entertaining 150 of our closest friends and family for the holidays. And if it's not that, then it's open to the public during public events, and is a really special place for a premium getaway.
Can you host a ballroom? Let's say you've got a wedding. Can you do that and then do an event in the theater as well?
Oh, yeah. Last night was Dave Chappelle and Killer Mike in the theater, and a wedding reception in the Grand Salon at the same time. And so, yeah, we do lots of that. It's not uncommon that there's something different going on in every corner.
Wow.
That's pretty wild.
Well, talk to us. We've talked, a little bit about the theater here, but tell us about your role, because it's changed over the years. Obviously, pretty much 15 years at one spot, but definitely not in the same position. So walk us through the different things you've done here at the Fox Theater and kind of what you're doing now.
Yeah. So I first started at the Fox Theater in 2011 as the assistant box office manager. And I worked in the ticket office for almost 6 years in a few different capacities. So not long after that, I was promoted to ticket office manager and manager of ticket sales and service. And then about 2017, I was offered an opportunity as the director of events and moved out of the ticketing world and into all things front of house. And then eventually that moved into director of events and public safety. And then from there, senior director of facility operations. And now I'm the vice president of facility operations. I've been really fortunate. Like I've even listened to many of your conversations with colleagues of ours from across the country that talk about what growth in the industry looks like. And lots of people have to move often for that to happen. Yeah. And I've even, like, to some degree, worried, like other people, always wanted to work my way to the top and to do all of the jobs and experience all of the different things. And so I thought that I was going to have to do that same thing in order to experience those things and that growth. And I have been so incredibly fortunate that I've been able to do that here instead. I think that there was something special about the leadership here when I first came, and honestly still is now, that creates a space for that growth that's really special and unique to the Fox. And then the Fox Theater itself is so unique in its challenges that you just never run out of things to do or ways to be challenged, or like Allie and I talk about, like food to eat.
Yeah.
We're never not fulfilled. And so I feel really grateful for that.
So what's under you obviously gave us your current title. What's your sort of day-to-day look like? What's
what are you
under
doing?
under your purview now?
Everything that is event or facility operations. So that's maintenance, housekeeping, restoration, production, guest experience, security, life safety, capital projects and construction, food and beverage, marquee club, and merchandise.
What are you doing wasting time with us? Because you obviously have work to do.
Man, our team is so great. They are the real deal. So I can't take any of the credit.
Restoration. Can you speak a little bit to that? Because I know a little bit about that, but I think that is somewhat unique and something you all put a lot of focus on.
Yeah, we do. We have a full-time restoration manager and a team of people that's job it is just to make sure that we care for the Fox Theater as the historic landmark that she is. And so whether it's navigating decisions about construction as it relates to that status, or making sure that we're doing our due diligence to look as much like we can and did in 1929, that's really their focus. They manage our archives and our historic furniture and lighting collections and really everything that you saw as we walked through that space, they're an integral part of.
That's so great that such an emphasis was put on that, because I do think that often with these historic theaters, they have these historic bones to them, but it's a venue, right? We're all like trying to survive to the next day. And so I think sometimes there isn't enough priority put on that type of restoration and not, reupholstering furniture and things like that. And so you have these gorgeous houses that, have all this history, but they tend to show a little age. And then it almost seems to be this like gut reaction, like every 10 or 15 years, like, oh shit, we've got to renovate really bad. Like we've kind of let it fall to shambles. So I love this idea of it sort of just like being this constant front of mind thing. Like we have to keep it up. We have to make sure it's good. We have to look at how we're planning, future development and stuff. So I just love that was, at the forefront.
Yeah, me too. It's also part of what makes it so much more challenging to work here. Like you can't, new arenas or just anything that doesn't have that same requirement.
You're not just gutting a room and doing what you want to do, because there's a responsibility to the history of that room.
Exactly. It changes your approach and your priorities and likely the budget and the timeline for the project, all those things.
We just took over managing a theater within the past year as part of, because we didn't have enough stuff, other stuff going on.
Yeah, you weren't busy. You didn't have any other venues.
There's no historian, right? So we had Chicago play last week, and just some random guy reaches out and says, "Oh yeah, hey, do you know they played here in 1973? And here's the tour poster." And I thought, where's the archives? Where's the history there? Where's the things that should be in place? So we're trying to build that now. From 50 years ago.
Isn't that amazing?
And sometimes these venues have like gone through, like they're not consistently even like this with Fox, right? Being this movie house, right? Like with a lot of these older theaters, you have sometimes like decades where they'll sit dormant and they were maybe going to tear them down and then they decide to restore it. Yeah. You'll have times where it was like a vaudeville house or a movie house for a decade. And so like they have these real wild, having also worked at a theater in Lexington, and it's extremely old. It was open in 1886, but similarly, it's like it had 40 years of performances, and then it sat dormant for a bit, and then it changed into a movie theater, and then you're like, there is a lot of history, but then if you start digging into it, you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm barely scratching the surface of this, right? Like there's, you hear about 3 or 4 performers pre 1950, and there's millions. It's really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We talk so much about the history of this building, but this building is just as relevant today. One of the things that's interesting is in 2023, you were Billboard Magazine's second highest grossing theater worldwide with 5,000 seats or less.
Which is basically, I don't know how many tickets you're moving, but I mean, you're probably doing more sales and more people than a lot of arenas.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I want to say last year was 700,000 people. so also to be doing that post-pandemic is crazy,
Yeah.
right? Like, I know I hate to talk about it, and we all dreamed about the day we wouldn't refer to that time, but I don't think that's a thing.
It lives with us forever.
Yeah.
I do dream about that day.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's remarkable. And I think is just a testament, like you said, to our relevancy and to the team that we have here that works so hard to make sure that both things can be true.
Yeah.
We talk about your role, in operations, but you were a building supervisor back at Michigan State.
I sure was.
Taking it way back, right?
Yeah.
So you're in college at Michigan State, go Big Ten.
That's right.
What did you think you were going to do?
You know, what's funny is when I first enrolled at Michigan State, for some reason, I thought I was going to be a hospital administrator. And I have no idea why. I have no idea where that came from. I will have to ask my mother. But it took me 3 minutes to end up knee deep in activities and programs on campus. And so quickly I was the building supervisor at intramural facilities, and I was a campus concert promoter for residence hall and university activities board, and was doing all of those things more than I was going to class, and just fell in love with the idea of convening people and being part of large event productions or building management and all of the above. I was hooked.
So how did you make the transition out of college into working for Broadway Across America?
You know what? It's crazy. This is my favorite story because in real life, I'm not this adventurous. But when I graduated from Michigan State, one of my best friends and I had both graduated with similar degrees. We knew we wanted to work in entertainment. We knew we didn't want to stay in the cold Michigan winters. So we were actually at work at the intramural facility, and we pulled up a map of the United States. We closed our eyes and we literally pointed. And
no, you did not.
We landed on the state of Georgia, and we're like, okay, I guess we'll go to Atlanta. I had never been. We rented a U-Haul, brought all our stuff down, and now I've been
with nothing lined up.
Nothing like we had job interviews. So we started then.
Sure. Okay.
But came with no jobs. And I was here for 48 hours before Broadway Across America offered me a job as a ticketing and marketing assistant. And I worked with them for 4 years. It was the best first job out of college ever. They're an incredible organization too. And the teams are small. So it's the type of job where everybody does 29 things.
Which is the best way to learn.
They're probably like, please, we need bodies.
Oh my God. There's nothing like it. So I was 22 and I'm settling engagements of Wicked and writing, checks and traveling for them and all kinds of things. It was romarkable. I'll never forget it.
How awesome to have a friend that you can like go out and just roll the dice with, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, let's figure it out, right? And if it blows up, we'll come back or something. But like, let's go. Let's go. That's so fun. Is your friend still here?
Nope, she's back in Detroit. She's an attorney.
She's like, maybe I do miss that weather.
I guess I like the winters more than I thought. Yeah. Yep.
That's so cool, though. I mean, who knows? You could have landed anywhere, right?
Well, that's
lucky
what I think about
it wasn't
all the
like
time.
the middle of nowhere, and no offense to Mississippi, but you could have landed in like a small town that maybe didn't have a venue, and you're like, I guess I'm working at the Movieplex there or something.
Right? Yeah, we'll never know.
Alt universe. So talk to us then about that change, because you were almost 4 years with Broadway Across America before you came to Fox Theater. So how did you end up at Fox?
Yeah, one of the things that's special about Broadway Across America is we were presenting, our office was responsible for presenting Broadway here in Atlanta at the Fox Theater, also in Jacksonville, Florida, and in Birmingham. And so, like I said, I traveled to each of those places on behalf of us to work in the box office or to settle an engagement. And so through that, you build really strong relationships with the venue. And so the box office manager at the time at the Fox Theater called me one day and asked me if I was interested in coming to join the Fox team. And I actually had just became a new mom. I had a 3-month-old son. I just come back from maternity leave. I took a pay cut and was like, yep, how soon can I start? It was just, you knew even from that proximity that the Fox Theater was special and it was something worth being a part of. So I took that jump and then have loved being here ever since.
I'm sure that's given you great perspective too, having been on that Broadway Across America side, and then you're now on the venue side and dealing with them. Like you have this, it's a close relationship. You're just on a different side of it,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like I said, I think it's so much credit to them. They're really an incredible organization and the best of touring Broadway. Obviously, nobody does it bigger, but it is a really cool thing to be able to see both sides of that and allow that to inform some of our relationship and how we all work together and support each other.
You also did about I guess 8 years now. You've been doing some freelance work with One Music Fest. What is that?
Yeah, One Music Fest is the Southeast's largest urban music festival, and actually, a friend from AEG years and years ago. I was again still in the box office, and a really good friend of mine said, "I've got an opportunity. I think you might be a good fit for," and always was also doing the same thing and just doing different jobs and picking up work and exploring opportunities to be connected. And so she invited me to join that team. And now they've been like a second family. And I've been really proud to be a part of them. I've done ticketing gate operations in one capacity or another for them for several years. Actually, my last year with them, I think, was 2022, and but still never miss a festival. And I'm really grateful for that time.
What's that festival like? Is it hosted at certain locations? Is it, multiple days? Like what's
Yeah,
sort
it's
of
a
the
2-day
feeling of
music
it?
festival here in Atlanta. And, so like many others, like a noon gate with music on 2 or 3 different stages until the sun goes down. And then the best of hip hop and R&B and a few different parks throughout the city of Atlanta over the years. And it's just grown tremendously over time.
And of course, Atlanta is like known for being this massive hub for hip hop. You've got just endless, lists of,
Yes.
rappers and hip hop artists that have come from Atlanta. And it's, that's awesome that there is such a big festival. I'm sure you will get all these big hometown names that are huge that, have gone on to make it big elsewhere, but, are from here and happy to support the city.
Yeah, one of the things that's so cool about it is the team that curates the day and the festival lineup does a great job to consider all of those things. Like,
Yeah.
how do we make it feel just perfectly Atlanta, but also
Yeah.
represent what's current and
Sure.
happening everywhere? And it's such a perfect mix of that.
On that same vein, Atlanta, right? Like you obviously you love the Fox. That's probably what's kept you here a lot. But what is it about the city, right? You mentioned your friend went back up to Michigan, but you've been here for a while. Do you love Georgia? Obviously, you love Georgia and Atlanta, but like, what makes it special to you? Is it the whole experience? Is it the food? Is it the, entertainment? Is it just everything? What makes Atlanta different than, other cities around the country if people haven't been?
One of the things that I love most about Atlanta is that it truly has something for everybody. Like you just find your pocket, you find your people, and it just feels like it was meant for you. So it's a really easy city to be new in and then just figure it out. And like I said, find those pockets or those people. So for me, that's been, a village that helped me raise my son and best girlfriends I'll ever ask for and other second families like One Music Fest, and just you blink and then you realize, oh, this is home.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's it, I guess, for people that are maybe coming in June, on a live entertainment side, what's the marketplace look like, right? I think people obviously see pro teams and they know about the Fox because it's very well known, but you all have this massive group of other club level venue sizes that have, some of them have been around for numerous years. I mean, I feel like at top to bottom, you've got, things as big as Mercedes-Benz Stadium, obviously, that has Atlanta United and the Falcons. And then you've got these things that are really small club venues that get really good acts. And it just feels like this huge music and entertainment hub.
Yeah, it really is. I think, I don't know if you've heard the kind of Atlanta's tagline, Atlanta influences everything.
That's
but
awesome.
It's
No,
so
I heard
true.
that. That's great.
Yes.
That's good.
And so even
it's a city
music,
influencer. It's
exactly.
just the city, the first city influencer.
So again, there's something for everybody. There's, great club spaces like center stage, and then Tabernacle is kind of a mid-range, and then like you said, Mercedes-Benz and State Farm Arena is doing as much music as ever. And I know you'll spend some time there for the conference, but there really is something going on every day out of the week. There's also even the city of Atlanta has done an excellent job of creating opportunities for outdoor festivals and just something
great
everywhere
parks
at all the time.
Olympic Centennial Park.
Yeah,
I was down here. What year was that? I don't know. Maybe about 10 years ago, visiting family, and saw Grace Potter and the Nocturnals at Variety Playhouse.
Yes.
And it was excellent show, kind of small GA floor venue, but just, that was just one of the things I was enamored with, was just how many different venues there are. And of course, when you have any sort of city like that, it's like the rising tide is raising all ships. You're going to be this hub that pulls people in. You're sort of this gateway to Florida, that people are going to route through
to Florida,
the gateway or the wall to protect us from Florida. Depending on how you look at it.
Apologies to our friends in Florida.
Right. But you're going to be on a lot of routing, right? It's a must stop on the way south or the way north. So, I mean, I think it's really positioned in a great spot.
It is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I love just spending the last 24 hours here is just there's a vibe to this city, and it's a big city. But it also feels very comfortable, very manageable, very achievable. And there's just
some warmth.
Yeah, there is. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. What's funny about that? I'm glad you mentioned the Southern hospitality is real. And I think sometimes when you're here long enough, you forget it's as stark and impactful as it is until I go home to the Midwest. And then I'm like, that lady did not say hello to me in the grocery store. And it stands out like this. I'm like, oh my God, we are so nice in the South.
You mentioned your family, so talk to us about your family and kind of your life away from this fabulous theater.
Yeah, so I have a son, Kalen, who's 13 and a half. Like I said, he was 3 months old when I started to work here. So he's literally grown up here. Yeah, he's got an employee badge and he runs around like he owns the place.
Amazing.
And he'd kill me for saying all of this, but I just love that I've gotten to share that with him.
That's great.
Yeah. And then most of my family is back in Michigan, and we do our best to go home and see them often. My son's auditioning for a performing arts high school.
Wow. And I wonder how he got that in the blood.
He drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah. He's all
seen
in.
So many shows here that he's just
countless.
I gotta do it.
Yeah. And worked so many shows, right?
Air quotes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My 22-year-old just got a job working in our guest services department at one of our arenas, and it's just kind of cool, right? I really tried to steer him into a different career path. I was like STEM, technology. We sent him to space camp. Right. No. He I want to do guest services.
That's probably what steered him toward it, though. When you tell the kids stay away, then they're like, that sounds interesting.
That's right.
That's enticing.
I should have recruited him from the beginning.
Exactly. Recruited him, then he'd be like, I don't want to follow Dad. That's boring.
Right.
Obviously a lot going on here, and I appreciate making the time for us. Before we let you go, I want to hit you with our fast five. It's just 5 quick questions looking for your short, immediate response. First up, do you remember your very first concert?
I do. My very first concert was Destiny's Child at the State Fair in Michigan in the mid 90s.
Yeah, that is wild. That's a cool first concert.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite concert?
Favorite concert? I mean, I can't not say Prince at the Fox Theater.
There you go, yeah.
But honestly, recently I took my son to see Queen, and we sang every song beginning to end, and it was more fun than you could ever imagine.
The show was so good.
So good.
Yeah. How about, do you have a favorite breakfast spot in Atlanta?
Breakfast spot. I've been on a healthy kick lately, so I've been making all my food at home.
Good for you.
We just came from a place where we ate our weight in chicken and waffles. So
yes,
we can't
exactly.
Say the same.
So easy to do. You can't go wrong. There's so many good breakfast and brunch.
Paul and I will recommend the Atlanta Breakfast Company.
Yes.
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast
Club.
Breakfast Club. Yes.
The
so
Georgia
good.
Peach chicken and waffles. Good
go.
night. Yeah, I'm in a little bit of a food coma. How about you mentioned you're a like to cook at home. What's your favorite dish at home to make?
Oh my gosh, I am obsessed with sweet potatoes right now in any form. So probably 5 days out of the week.
Savory,
doing
sweet.
Something
What do you do
savory
with them?
only. Savory only.
You don't do that? No.
No.
Okay.
Savory only. That's where
She's got a look of disgust on her face. Like, Absolutely not. There's a line being drawn.
Last question. What's your theme song? There's the Rachel TV show cameras follow you all around your life, filming all your activity. What's the song that plays over the opening credits?
So my son would tell you that it's some kind of Queen ballad, but I would tell you that it's Can't Knock the Hustle by Jay-Z.
Very nice.
Nice.
Throw out some plugs here. If people want to follow along, find you or follow the Fox Theater on social. What plugs would you like to give?
Yeah, please do. You can find us on our website at www.foxtheater.org. Fox Theater's on Instagram and Facebook and all the other channels. And I'm Rachel Bomeli on LinkedIn and everywhere else.
Awesome.
Well, hey, again, I really appreciate the time and showing off the beautiful theater. I can't wait to show it off to everybody's coming to EVMC in June for them to see it themselves. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, me too. We can't wait to have you.
And a big thanks to everybody for listening to this episode of Adventures in Venueland. Remember, you can subscribe and find more episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We do love your 5-star reviews. It helps others find us. Until the next adventure, I'm Dave Rettelberger.
And I'm Paul Hooper. We'll catch you on the next one, everyone. Atlanta influences everything. I like that.
How many nights do you come in for the events? Are you trade off a lot of nights?
It depends on what's going on. I was here a lot lately because of what we had. Thursday was Andre 3000, which is hometown for him.
Oh, yeah.
Friday and Saturday, 2 sold-out nights of Tedeschi Trucks,
Flutes.
Also hometown.
Was he playing the flute
Yeah.
stuff? Was it only flute? That's what I'm
Only
curious
flute.
about. Wow.
For a good 2 hours.
Wow. So no outcast or solo stuff. Wow. I respect the commitment.
Man, the commitment is real.
And if you're that big, it's like take a swing and stretch out. Like, why not? People will ride along with you, and then you can always go back.
Right?
Right? I do love how much uplighting it is. It really accentuates all the ornate. Is there a lot of plaster?
Yeah, most of it.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah.
Well, let's go jump on the elevator. So it depends on what's going on. This week was 4 nights.
Yeah, okay.
But if it's a Broadway run, then I'll come for every opening night.
Yep, sure.
And then maybe a tough Sunday matinee or whatever, but not 8 of them. This is actually, you can hear, this is the ballroom balcony.
Oh, yeah.
So this is one of those 2 ballrooms. So
Which is
we
very
do everything
cool.
in here from proms to,
This
last
is
week.
very
we had-
Egyptian.
Yeah. So we had Under 3000 Thursday at the same time as a fundraiser in here for GCAP
Oh, no.
with Jane Fonda.
Oh.
And her guests were Jermaine Dupri and Jessica Biel and Heather McMahon and
Same time as
all
that?
same time.
Is there fun little bleed over? Do they go and watch each other's
Sometimes,
shows?
yeah, because it
for
was
big
Jermaine
celebrities?
Dupri and Under 3000, send JD
Right.
over so he can come say hi.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Trouble keeping the crowd separate?
In that arcade we do when they first come in, yeah.
Can I look up here?
Yeah, of course.
This is the top level, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. This is so crazy. But that's plaster, right?
Plaster.
But this is actual.
It's plaster.
This is also plaster.
Yeah.
Oh. So really the only thing that's cloth is the proscenium or the curtain.
Yep, and then on the
It
actual
looks
art.
I did not know. That's cool.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. I love the rugs too, which cover up the speakers, right? Yeah. See those draping?
I feel like you're right on top of the
Isn't
stage.
it amazing?
We have to show Dave the restrooms.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds weird. I
You
know.
mentioned it twice now, so.
Well, and have you, Rachel? Have you ever been to the Louisville Palace?
I haven't.
You need to check it out if you're.
So this is the women's restroom.
Look at these this.
Yeah,
This is
all
crazy.
original. And our team, they could tell you every detail about the color of the blue and the hand paint. So there's
Yeah.
even
See, right? I'm not crazy.
There's even a
Look at this.
porch. For the
It's
ladies.
got a whole powder room.
Yeah.
That's extremely ornate. And look, it's the title. This is the craziest restaurant ever. All these little sphinxes.
Okay, yeah, it's totally worth it. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, this porch. They showed me this, and I was like, it's cool. It's exclusive. It's kind of weird.
I know, right?
But I was like, I would come out
Just
and
come
eat
have a
lunch here.
cigarette while you're going to the bathroom.
Yeah. It's a nice little. That looks out. No. Traffic.
Their intention was that Ponce, this thoroughfare, Ponce was the main entrance to the building. And that was the Shire's intention. And then when William Fox became involved, he was like, no, I feel like Peachtree Street is going to end up being a main thoroughfare through the city of Atlanta. Our entrance needs to be over there.
That is accurate.
Isn't that crazy?
Something about the word peach feels like it's going to be important in the state of Georgia. I don't know. Maybe I'm prophetic.
Just go down, I live here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thank you.
Been this like carpet, so ornate, and all these tile.
Oh, yeah.
Do people actually like sit here and powder, or is it just kind of a fun
They do
like
the
walk through? But like this, look at this entrance. Like what in the world?
Yeah.
This is the
We
craziest.
do lots of we've done interviews in here, like televised.
Oh yeah, yeah, it would be perfect.
Yeah. Let's see if we can peek in archives.
Archives, yes. Do we need to wear white gloves? Is it like the Stanley Cup?
No, don't touch anything.
Don't sneeze. Don't look.
Right.
Don't sniff. You're gonna ruin a whole decade. Is it up here? Kids are climbing the stairs. Let's climb upstairs. Whoa. Oh, seriously? The moving shelves?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Original blueprints,
Whoa.
original uniform.
That is bonkers.
I can see everything's coded and numbered.
Oh yeah.
When would you say like the archive stuff like kicked off, or is it always like I'm sure there was some point where someone's like,
Yeah,
this
probably
theater's old, we should start saving this, and then they probably had to like go back and get some stuff,
Yeah,
and then
for
going
sure.
forward, then you're like cognizant of it, and you're like put it in archives, we gotta show a poster, put it in archives.
Yeah. I mean, really, the 70s through the Save the Fox campaign, we were threatened we were going to be a parking lot. And
Oh, crap.
Citizens of Atlanta rallied together and were like,
Save the Fox.
Save the Fox.
Save the
exactly.
Fox.
So really, it was that. That's when we became a nonprofit, Atlanta Landmarks, and
Wow.
really committed to.
I see the stuff for the 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
You're dragging it out to see what you did right and wrong.
Right.
What do we do for that? Let's
Look
just
at
run
this.
it back.
1944, a payment to
Oh my
Moss
gosh.
Incorporated for $35.
I bet
That's a lot of money
I
back
bet
then.
people also have stuff they find that they would have given. Like, they're like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
I found
Like
this.
that.
And
Yeah.
Or like my
grandparents.
passed away
Or
and
they
they had
get
a
guilty.
ticket
They're like, I
stub.
took this chair
Oh,
in
no.
82 when I worked there and I feel bad. Do you want it back?
You're like,
Yes.
it was on loan.
Right.
Give me two.
But even like, I won't open these, but even like
Blueprints. Oh yeah, show
posters from,
yeah.
you know, who knows when,
So many.
copy drawings.
That's so,
see,
cool.
that is the marquee on Peachtree
Yep.
Street.
Yeah.
This is that porch that we were just on. Actually, that's that porch we were just on in the ladies' room. This area is what they thought was going to be their main
I can see that.
entrance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we just did a capital project a year and a half ago to restore this onion dome, and that sits above the apartment that we were just in. So this is all the
Oh,
apartment.
okay. Wow. God, this is like a film reel.
Yeah.
No
oh,
telling
yeah.
what.
I mean, we have like original projectors up in the spot booth.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Every venue in the country should have something like this.
Slide, right?
Isn't it crazy?
Especially these older ones. That is crazy. It is crazy.
It also makes me mad, like especially from a marketing perspective. like all the time. You don't think about it in real time because it's just real time. So obviously John Legend is just like tomorrow. Right. But the quantity of times we've all printed posters without the year on them.
I know. It's so much.
And then you're looking back and you're like, December 13
like
what?
The first thing, because we do the same thing. Or even like Parks and Rec, it'll be like Ballet Under the Stars. And we're like now hyper focused on the year. Because now we're like trying to do like 30 years in a row, and there's like 10 of them that don't have years.
Yes.
Like,
it matters.
Which one was that? Jeez. Yeah. That is so cool.
Oh, look, behind you. Original stained glass from the Grand Salon skylight.
Wow. So I'm sure, too, when there's any... this is Atlanta. Oh, gosh.
I know. Be careful with the stained glass.
If that happened, I would just walk out and keep walking. You would never see me again.
Adventures in Venueland is a side project of the Event and Venue Marketing Conference, a marketing conference that brings together diversified event and venue professionals to cultivate education, collaboration, and innovation for the growing sports and live entertainment industry. Find out more at eventvenuemarketing.com.
Audio editing and mixing by Camille Faulkner.
Design and digital advertising by Megan Ebeck.
Copywriting and publicity by Samantha Marker.
Guest booking and brand strategies by Paul Hooper.
Guest research by Dave Rettelberger.
Marketing strategies by Paul Hooper, Megan Ebeck, and Samantha Marker. Thanks for joining us. Until the next adventure.